Stocks, bonds, ETFs, straight out of downtown Chicago. This is Zacks Market Edge.
Welcome to Zacks Market Edge, the podcast about investing in your life. I'm your host, Tracey Ryniec, and this week I'm going solo again to talk about the Zacks Rank. I realize there's a lot of new subscribers to this podcast, both on video, on YouTube, which you can get us subscribe on YouTube, on Zacks Investment Research, but also on Apple and Spotify and Amazon Music, and even probably SoundCloud. We've got some new subscribers there. So I wanted to cover the Zacks Rank again because I'm starting to get some questions, especially on the YouTube comments about the rank, and some people kind of dissing on the rank. So what is the Zacks Rank and how do you use it to find top stocks? It is one of Zacks' signature features and one of the things that I love about Zacks. I've used the Zacks Rank myself. Since I started working at Zacks 17 years ago, I had no clue what it was either. So what is it? It's a short-term trading recommendation. Number ones are the highest rank, and that is a strong buy. And number fives are the lowest. Those are strong sells. It's kind of made up on the curve. So the holds, number threes, are the biggest collection of stocks at 80%. And then you have 5% being number twos. Then you have 15% being number twos, sorry. And then you have, it would be 5 and 5. Sorry, I'm like doing the wrong math in my head. You have 5% number twos, and then you have the 5% on the number ones. And then it works the reverse for the sells and the strong sells. So the number ones, the strong buys, are what most people are interested in, and they're pretty rare. We cover over 4,000 stocks with the Zacks Rank now, and the number ones can range anywhere from, I've seen it around 210 stocks to as high as about 250 stocks. The Zacks Rank is a computer-generated ranking system, and it is generated just about every day. So it can change daily, and those numbers, sometimes you'll see, a stock that's number one. You look the next day, suddenly it may be a number two. Occasionally, but rarely, will you see a number one go all the way down to a number five within a single day. But I have seen it happen a couple times in my 17 years. So you can't rule out anything. That would take quite an event because the Zacks Rank is based on analysts' estimates and the revisions to those earnings estimates. So let's take a look at Zacks.com. For those of you who are listening, and yes, some of you who watch this on video are always wondering, why is she telling us the tickers? I can see it right there on my screen. Why is she, giving this description? Because there are hundreds and thousands of people who are listening in to this video podcast, but listening in audio only. So I'm going to try to describe as best I can what's going on Zacks.com. And once again, like I have done recently, I am keeping this kind of basic because a lot of people don't really know where to find the rank on Zacks.com. So we're just going to go there. If you find all of this boring because you do know where the rank is, and you just want to get to the stocks I'm going to talk about, then just skip forward and you'll see when I'm done with this kind of general where to find section. So we're on Zacks.com. You can see there's just the regular homepage, and it actually does have this button, new to Zacks, get started here, but we're not going to click on that because we just want the rank. And if you scroll down above the below the fold here, you will see featured Zacks Rank stocks. It's right here in green in the middle of the page, and you see bull of the day underneath it and bear of the day. It does say number one rank under the bull picture and then number 5 rank under the bear picture. So if you haven't figured it out, bull of the day are the number 1 rank stocks, bear of the day are number 5s. Occasionally, because we do write it the day before it appears on our website, you do get a change in the ranks sometimes overnight, but we try to make sure that they're going to be number ones and number fives. There's a lot of big Zacks rankiness here that you can get for free. You don't have to be a premium member or any kind of member. You can just go to this website. Right underneath the bull and bear of the day are Zacks number one rank top movers for the day there. And it gives you a bunch of the top movers right there. So that's interesting. And it has little tabs. So if you're a value investor and you want a value VGM score, a high value VGM score, then you click on that and it'll give you the top movers for value. Here's some top movers for growth. Interesting that some of the stocks don't change, but momentum looks like quite a bit of change. And then overall VGM, which is value, growth, and momentum combined score. And you get a change there. And then there's this income here too, which is also interesting. So I'm getting some kind of dividend with these, and these are the top number one rank movers for that particular day. Then on the right side, it says Zacks number one rank additions. So as I said, the rank changes daily. That means some will drop off, some will be added on. This gives you a good idea of what has been added on. Some of these might have just reported earnings, so you'll see a lot of recent earnings reporters there. But this is a good little snap of 5 stocks that are recently added. So for those of you who are listening, Twilio is the top stock, TWLO, Western Digital, number 2, WDC, Cracker Barrel, the restaurant chain, CBRL, Shake Shack, another restaurant chain, SHAK, and then TTM Technologies, TTMI are the 5 that have recently been added. So if you are not a premium member and you want some of these number one ranked stocks, this is a good place to go. You can go and see some of them right here and then go dive in deeper to find out why are these number one ranks. And then I see, I didn't even realize this is an actual issue. If I click on those tabs that are under the top movers, I see if you are a premium member, it'll give you a list of all of them in under that tab right there. And it does change. So if I just want the momentum, all Zacks number one ranked momentum stocks, it'll give that to me and I can just click on that link there. And the other side does not. It gives you all Zacks number one ranked strong buys. So it just gives you the list on that one. But this is a good way, again, like I said, to just see some stocks for free. And this gives you our strong buys, which are rising earnings estimates. And what exactly does that mean? So this bull of the day is Viva Systems. If you want to kind of learn how the Zacks rank works, it's very good to look at these bull of the day articles, because not only is it a Zacks number one rank, but usually in the article, the author, me, or one of my colleagues will tell you why it's a Zacks number one rank, what is going on with those earnings estimates, usually includes some charts, some good data in there, so you can kind of see what is setting this one aside. Today's bull of the day is Viva Systems, ticker VEEV. And the little tag says here, the AI boosted medical software stock that's tripled. It's tripled tech over the last 10 years, is on the verge of breaking above a key technical, and then it fades away. So something's good is going on. It's breaking out. It looks like, or on the verge of it. It's AI boosted and it's medical software. So you can click on this bull of the day. So we're going to kind of see what one of these looks like. And right away, we get this key takeaways. So if you just want the bare basics, you can read that. And the key takeaways here, Vive has tripled tech over the past decade, as it said, yet it trades 15% below its highs. Then another key takeaway, the life sciences tech company posted an AI-boosted beat and raise in the first quarter in late May. And Viva is on the verge of breaking above a key technical range, and its valuation looks enticing. So that breaks it down about what's going on with Viva. And you'll find, especially during earnings season, company will report, they beat on earnings, they raise. Well, what does that mean? All of the analysts have to do. Usually they have to go in and raise their earnings estimates. And that trickles into the Zacks ranking system because the rank looks at a couple of key components. So I'm going to go over to the quote page because this also gives you a lot of good details about the rank. So scrolling down, you'll see Zacks rank factors. Here it is right up here. Zacks rank factors about halfway down. And that gives us a bunch of charts. But on the left, it says agreement, and it gives the analysts the number of revisions, whether or not they were up or down, and the percentage revision agreement, how many of the analysts are in agreement, basically. Then on the right, we have magnitude. Magnitude, which is the trend over the last 60 days. And it gives the trends of the estimates there, as well as what the current estimates are. It goes back again 60 days. Then on the left side below agreement, we have upside. And those are what is happening with the earnings. Is it on the rise, basically? And then on the right, we have surprise. So the Zacks rank does take into effect, but it's not as highly weighted in the Zacks rank as agreement. But surprise, did they surprise last quarter on the earnings? And do they have a history of surprising? And so it will look at that. So these are the four major components that the Zacks rank looks at: agreement, magnitude, upside, surprise. And you can get them right here on the quote page. So you can go in and kind of see, why does this have the Zacks number one rank? Well, look at all this green. We have 100% revision agreement. 10 estimates are up for this year, F1 this year, in the last 60 days. And 8 are up for next year. Nobody has cut, so we have 100% agreement. Over here on the magnitude side for the full year, and the Zacks rank does look at the full year for the earnings, the current is up. Trend of estimates revisions, 3.5% for this year and another 1.8 next year. That means this is trending up. We have 756 expected for this year, up from 730. So I like to see that. Upside, here's the upside. The most accurate estimate for this year is 763. That's above the consensus, which is 756. 7 cents above. So we've got the green arrow going up there. And then surprise, this is by quarters, of course. And you can see the percentage earnings surprise for the prior quarters. And it was 13.2% in the last report. But it's got 4 in a row going right now. So we like to see that. If you scroll down further, you'll get valuations, and you can click this. You get the value or the growth if you want to know what's going on with the growth for Viva, and then momentum as well. And then it compares it to the industry and some others in the industry. So you get some good comparisons there. So you can see just from this chart and these little charts on the Zacks rank factors why we've got a number one rank stock here. And then I do like to look at the sales and EPS growth rates up here. All this is green on both sales and earnings. This year, fiscal year, we have 12.4% expected on sales. That's on the left side, and 14.6 expected on earnings growth. And then we're now going even further down because we're halfway through this year, and we have 11.9% sales, 9.3 on the earnings side. Viva is not cheap, trades at 51 times, but the PEG isn't bad at 2.2. So you are paying, but you're getting the growth. Now, if you actually read that bull of the day, he talks about how Viva has averaged roughly 25% revenue growth over the last decade. and it has a great balance sheet, 6.1 billion in cash, zero debt, and just 1.5 billion in liabilities. It's a 46 billion market cap company, software, life sciences, technology software, using that AI to help make it even more productive for its clients. So there's a bull of the day out there right now, which is Viva Systems, ticker VEEV. Now, another way to find more bulls of the day, in case you miss one, you can actually find the back older bulls of the day, which I did to prepare for this podcast. So if you click on the bull of the day, let's go back and do that. So I clicked on bull of the day, Viva Systems. You scroll down, you can see more from Zacks bull of the day here. And then you see a list of the last 3, including Viva Systems. So that's the last 4 of the bulls of the day. Bulls of the day are out on the Zacks website every day. The market is open. So you don't get them on the weekends, but you'll get them on market days. And if you want even more, say you've read all these and you're done, or you're not interested in some of these stocks and you want to see what else is out there, you can click on more from Zacks Bull of the Day, the green link there, and you'll get a bunch. Here's all of them going down quite a bit, and you can keep looking. So plenty to choose from. But remember, the rank does change daily. So your the bulls are going to be not out of date. If you look back a couple of months, though, they may be out of date because a lot will change. The Zacks rank will change a lot during earnings season because that is when they come out with results, as I mentioned earlier. Then the analysts do their thing and, revise those earnings estimates, or maybe not. Maybe they're in line, so they don't. But usually we get some revisions on most companies. Now, some peculiars with the Zacks rank you should know about. The bigger the company, the more covering analysts, then it's a little bit harder to get everybody in agreement, for instance. And so you might not see quite as many of the big caps in the Zacks number 1 rank, but we just saw Viva Systems, which is a $46 billion company, market cap on a number 1 rank. So you can definitely get the big caps. We might get a lot more smaller caps, however, because on some small cap companies, you may only have 1 or 2, maybe 3 analysts covering. And so then you're going to get a lot more agreement in there. And you may also just, if you have 1 analyst and they raise their earnings estimate, well, that's going to be the agreement, 100% agreement with themselves. And it's going to impact other things like magnitude and things like that. So we do see a lot of small caps on the Zacks rank. And that's okay because it does unveil some hidden gems, much more than some other systems might. And remember, the Zacks rank is just a stock recommendation kind of system. I don't know how else to describe it. It's not 100% going to give you winners every time. If it was, we all would be on our Caribbean islands somewhere, right? But it can give you a starting point, a list of stocks where something good is going on, where those analysts, the covering analysts, are raising their earnings estimates there. And then you can go in and see what exactly is going on with that company. And maybe there's something there that, really catches your eye and you want to invest. Now, if you're a longer term investor, as I mentioned, it is only a short-term recommendation, 1 to 3 months. But I've used it to select stocks for long-term portfolios, including Zacks Value Investor. And it is helpful for selecting the stocks. You still have to keep in mind that the rank is going to move all over the place. If you own it 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, you likely will have that stock go to a number 5 strong sell at some point if you own it 10 years. So in 2022, when the earnings estimates were being cut on many of the Mag 7 companies, when they were doing layoffs, when they were just cutting back on cost cutting and their earnings dropped, a stock like Amazon went to a number 5 in 2022, strong sell. But that's the short-term recommendation. So if you know the company and you know why you're invested in it, you probably did not sell it then if you're a long-term investor. So keep these things in mind with the Zacks Rank. Also, during earnings season, it can get a little wonky. Just right up before a company reports, the old consensus estimates, the old estimates that the analysts did for the prior quarter, maybe they haven't changed them at all. They, changed them after the last earnings report. Now it's been nearly 90 days. Well, as you noticed on the data that's on the agreement magnitude upsize surprise part on the quote page, those are 60 days. We do have 90 days if you go into the actual detailed earnings estimates. So I'm going to do that with Viva Systems again and look at the detailed earnings to just show you, if you scroll down, you'll see sales estimates, earnings estimates, and then consensus estimate trends. And here, looking for the full year, again, 756 is what they're expected to make. But we have 7 days, also 756. So nothing has changed in the last week. 30 days, 730. So someone has likely raised their consensus in the last 30 days. Then we have 60 days, also 730. And now 90 days. This does go back fully 90 days to 721. So it has changed quite a bit, up from 721 to 756 in the last 90 days. But the Zacks Rank looks at the 60-day figures. So some of these estimate revisions, if all we had was 10 in the last 60 and not 10 in the last 30, then we would have some of these fall off, as we like to term it, fall off of the algorithm. And so that messes up the rank a bit, and you can see some stocks go to a number 4 sell just before earnings. So a lot of times, if I see a number 4 and it's a week or two out before that company reports, I'll go in, I'll look at these detailed estimates. I'll see, has anybody been cutting? Well, here, nobody's been cutting. So I would be like, well, that's odd. How did it get number 4 sell? And that's because some of these estimates have fallen off. So it's waiting for the next earnings report and to do it all again, essentially. This doesn't happen on all stocks, but it happens occasionally. And I know people get confused. Why is this a number 4 when everything looks so good on the estimate revisions and they're all higher? And that is the reason. So keep these particulars in mind. There are a lot of nuances to the rank depending on, again, how many analysts, market cap size, what's going on in the last 60 days. But we are trying to capture that upside. We are trying to capture rising earnings estimates because our data has shown that that is very predictive of where a stock may be going when we have these rising earnings estimates. So let's look at another stock that was on the recent bull of the day that I saw on that list, and it's Howmet Aerospace, ticker HWM. I don't follow much in this space, so this was an interesting one to me. The article told me they were founded in 1888. They're in Pittsburgh. They are in the aerospace defense industry, as you can see, bringing up on the quote page. We also have the industry rank here, which ranks the industries with the rising and the highest ranks among their companies. So it ranks in the top 28% here out of 245. So I like seeing that. It has the Zacks number 1 rank still. And then you can see the style scores under that. It does have an F for the VGM style scores. So this is not one that has the A's across, but we are looking for the rank. So that's all I care about. And Howmet provides parts to aircrafts like airfoils and seamless rolled rings for aircraft engines and industrial gas turbines. They also have aerospace fastening systems. In their last earnings report, they beat and they did raise full year EPS guidance to 336 to 344 from 313 to 321. So odds are the analysts also raised, which is, again, how we get the Zacks #1 rank. Now, I like to look at this price consensus and surprise chart. You can see all the beats on there. The last miss was in 2020, so a great earnings surprise record. That will show up in the rank as well. And then you can see the consensus estimate here up and to the right, and 2027 looking really bullish there. But we now have a little bit of an arc there for 26 as well as 25. So scrolling down, I want to see the Zacks rank factors. It is green across the board for agreement. 7 are higher, none are lower. And we can see it's 100% agreement there for this year and next year. Magnitude, trend of estimates revisions up 6.79% for this year, 5.1 for next year. And again, the analysts had to get within this new guidance range. That's when you're going to see high Zacks rank. Upside, not as much there. Little bit of red, but only down 1% for this year from the most accurate. But next year, a little bit more bullish, up 4.9% there. And then surprises, as I mentioned, they haven't missed since 2020. And you can see the last 4 surprises there. And the most recent one was 11.69%. Looking at it on detailed estimates, because we're going to go look over there, they have a market cap of $69 billion, so they're even bigger than Viva Systems. And you can see 28% earnings growth expected for this year. 346 is now the consensus, a little higher than their guidance range, which was 344. And they made 269 last year. And then we have 410 for next year, and that's up another 18.6%. 8.5% on sales for this year and 11.6% for next year. And so across the board, looking pretty good. These shares look like they're up pretty big. Let's look. And I'm going to the interactive charts just to kind of see, should I compare it to Viva Systems? Sure. Let's see what both of these are doing for the year. And we can do a lot of different times, but we're going to do year to date. So Viva up 33.5% and Howmet Aerospace up 56%, beating the AI boosted software company. So that tells you how hot it has been this year. And 1 year, 118% for Howmet, Viva up 56%. And then 5 years, look at Howmet. 5-year return, 1,210%. Viva Systems, 24% over the 5-year. I'm assuming Viva, mostly had some difficulties in 2022 when a lot of the growth tech stocks had a sell-off there. So interesting to always see what the stocks are doing. Of course, past performance is not indicative of the future, but both of these doing very well here in 2025. Then I want to take another look at another Zacks #1 ranked stock that I also saw on the list. I looked back like a week or two to kind of just see what was on there, and Flowtech Industries was one I saw. It is now a #2. So this shows you, even going back just about 10 days or so, when this was a #1, it has now dropped down to a #2 because the Zacks rank changes daily as we get more earnings reports in and changes to those consensus. Some fall off and fall down. #2 is still a buy, so I'm still going to talk about it. And this gives us a good opportunity to kind of see what's going on with these earnings and why it has fallen down to a #2. So this is a small cap. And like I said, the rank does seek out and profile a lot of these small cap stocks. It has a market cap of just 476 million. What do? They do real-time data analytics to clients across the energy and industrial sectors. They're in the oil and gas field services. So this scares a lot of people. Anything with energy and oil has not been good the last couple of years. So it got beaten down, as you can see on this chart, the price, consensus, and surprise. But starting in mid 2024, started to have a comeback. And now we see it really surging here in 2025. And so the rank is also following. We have 4 beats in a row on this chart. We have a period with nothing. So we might not have had analyst coverage during this time period. That's usually what that means. It is a small cap. So sometimes, the analysts, they lose coverage. And now they've regained it. Now we have the coverage again. So it will have a Zacks rank. Without any analyst coverage on these small caps, it will not have a Zacks rank. So keep that in mind. Obviously, you have to have the analysts doing what they do. So the Zacks rank factors, scrolling down, we have 2 analysts on it now. And one has been revised up. And we see none are down. So we do have 100% agreement for the full year. Nobody's cutting there. There is one cut for the quarter, but nothing going on for the full year, either this year or next year. And then look at the trend of revision estimates, up 12.8% for this year and 15% for the next year. So the momentum is gaining on the earnings side. Something good is going on at Flowtech to get that kind of momentum. And then we're also seeing these much bigger surprises. Last earnings surprise was 183%. They reported 17 cents. The analysts only had them at 6 cents. So that's a big beat. And they have been beating in bigger levels the last couple of quarters. Now, in the third quarter of last year, we have a green arrow on the map, but they just met. So the meets and the beats get the green arrow on that chart. And so they just met in that quarter, but it's not a miss. So it still counts. Now, let's look at the detailed estimates to kind of see what's going on. Did any of the earnings estimates, we know nobody's cut, but what else is going on? Nobody's doing anything except in the last 60 days. We have the one that has been raised as the data shows, and we now expect 53 cents. They made 34 cents last year, so that's 55% earnings growth. And this is up from 47 cents 60 days ago. So that one earnings revision higher has given us this much better earnings outlook. And so that's what the Zacks rank is designed to capture. In the first quarter, they have 2 segments, chemistry technologies and data analytics. Chemistry technologies revenue was up 36% in the first quarter, data analytics up 57%. So things are turning around at Flowtech Industries. It looked pretty grim there for a couple of years, as a lot has in energy. But we've got 7% revenue growth expected for this year and 7.4% for next year. These are the kind of companies that the Zacks rank is designed to unearth. Look at this price and EPS surprise chart. We get that big earnings surprise there in May 6th. And then the stock doubled off of that because the good news is out. And the rank is now capturing that, even as a buy, but certainly as a strong buy. So that's 3 of the stocks that I decided to feature on this podcast. But I also want to show you where you can find the list. If you are a premium member, you can find the list under the Bulls and the Bears of the day. As I mentioned earlier, we have these premium links down here that view all Zacks #1 ranked VGM stocks. So if I click on that link, it takes me to basically a list with the VGM and style scores, and it lists them here. I believe it adds them. Yes, I see it sees we can decide how to sort this. And this does list automatically by date added. So these are the most recent additions with these VGM scores. You can sort by all of these things. You can sort by the highest VGMs. You can sort by the lowest VGMs. You can sort by market cap. I like to sort by industry. So I'm clicking on that because then it kind of groups everybody into one thing. And you can see on this list today, as we're running it, it does list up here all sectors and that there are 225 number one ranked stocks today on June 17th. So if I click by industry, I can get an idea of what are the hot industries. Of course, the industry rank will also tell me that. But this gives me it really in kind of a visual format of how many in these particular industries. We talked about how met aerospace, but look at a couple of these in aerospace that are also Zacks number one ranks that have made this list. So Howmet might not just be its own thing out there, but we're seeing others. And so this gives me some more investing ideas as well. Then the thing that I've noticed over the last couple of weeks here in 2025 is just scrolling down on this list now. Then after automotive, we get banks. And now look at all these banks. And this banks have their own like mini segments. So this is just showing me banks foreign. So these are just foreign banks, including like Deutsche Bank is on here, NatWest Group, Banco Santander Chile. Just scrolling down, there's more banks, and then that ends. So a lot of foreign banks on the number one ranks. And then we have Banks Midwest. We've got a couple of those. Banks Northeast. We've got a couple of those, more than a couple, almost a dozen there. Then we have Banks Southeast. We've got a bunch of those, half a dozen. Then we have Banks Southwest, and we've got half a dozen of those. Then banks in the West, only two of those. North Rim Bancorp, ticker NRIM, and Bank of Hawaii. They make the list, BOH. And seeing all these banks, that's a lot of banks. That's over 30 banks. I would have to count to make sure, but it's definitely up there on the banks. So what's going on at the banks? The earnings estimates are on the rise at these banks. They are cheap. And so the Zacks Rank is signaling something good is going on in these kind of smaller bank, community banks, and the smaller regional banks or even the mid-sized regional banks are all showing up on here. And then you can also see kind of where things are not super hot. If you scroll down and say, I'm like, I want a number one rank retailer. Who is number one rank? Scrolling. It is alphabetical. So I've got to get down to retail. Okay. I'm finally there. And this is also has its subsections. So there's more than I would have thought. We have apparel and shoes, and there are two stocks, Urban Outfitters, URBN, and Next, NXGPY. Then we have retail home furnishings, only one. FGI Industries, FGI is the ticker. We have retail jewelry, only one. Chow Tai Fook, CJEWY. With the five letter ticker, I'm assuming this is an international company. Then we have retail miscellaneous, and there's just one, the ODP Corp, ODP. And then we have retail/restaurants. Yeah, they're considered a like retail group. And there's only two, and they've the ones just recently added that I talked about at the beginning of the show, Cracker Barrel, CBRL, and Shake Shack, SHAK. But what this is telling me, in an industry that is somewhat struggling, you can see the struggle here on the Zacks Rank, because this is not many stocks in these industries, given the number of retailers that are out there. We're talking, there's a lot of retail. And none of those are showing up. A lot of uncertainty going on with the earnings estimates in retail right now. And that's what this is showing. But if you are one of the ones that have made this list, you might want to dig down and find out, why is Urban Outfitters a number one rank? What are they doing right? How are they surviving with the tariff uncertainty and the consumer uncertainty? That's why I like the Zacks Rank. That's why I use it. Again, it is a short-term recommendation, just 1 to 3 months, but it can uncover these hidden gems. And something is usually going on that's pretty good there. And a lot of times, if it's right after the earnings season and you see it added to the Zacks number one rank list, it can and usually means it's a beat and a raise, or certainly a raise is going on there with those earnings estimates. And it doesn't tell you the entire story of a company just because it has rising earnings estimates. But as an investor, that's what we want. We want to have the earnings going up, not going down. Now, you can screen for the strong sells the same way. And there are lists of the strong sells out there as well. I want to say it might even be, yes, it's up here at the top. View all Zacks Rank number 5 strong sells. So I just clicked on that. There's 213 right now. It does vary. It's not the same necessarily as the number ones. The numbers will vary, but it'll be about the same number between 200 and 250, give or take. This is on the lower side at 213. And this is just listing the number 5 ranks. This does not include the VGM scores or anything like that, but you can still search it by industry as well. And you can scroll down. Let's see how many retail are in the number 5 strong sells, as very few were in on the number ones. So we have a couple here. Let's see, on apparel and shoes, a lot, as I would expect. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 listed on apparel and shoes. There's 1 on home furnishings. There's 1 on mail order, 1-800-Flowers.com. So don't get any ideas, but mail order, 1-800-Flowers.com, ticker FLWS. And then just 1 restaurant, Meritage Hospitality Group, and its ticker MHGU, is a number 5 strong sell. So just like the number ones, the number 5s means the analysts are cutting those earnings estimates. So if you cut your guidance, the analysts usually have to go in and cut their earnings estimates, and that's how you end up on this list. Occasionally, I have been known to find hidden gems on the number 5 strong sell list, but that's for another podcast, and I will do one sharing my secrets on how to use the Zacks number 5 to also find hidden gems. But if you are looking for something that's just the top, the best stocks, stick with the number ones because it's given it to you right there. It's got agreement, magnitude, upside, surprise, and something good is going on with those earnings estimates. So let me recap the stock tickers we talked about again, not recapping all of these that I just kind of mentioned were on these lists, but we talked about Viva Systems, ticker VEEV. V as in Victor, EE as in Edward, V as in Victor. So 4 letters there. Then we had Howmet Aerospace, HWM. And then we talked about Flowtech. It's being ignored, but maybe not so much because it's now doubled off of that last earnings report. Ticker F as in Frank, T as in Tom, K. FTK is the ticker there. And as always, I aim to bring you everything we have here at Zacks on the stock market and stocks every week. There's a lot going on. We've got AI, we've got the tariffs, we've got the bulls maybe ready to break out on the S&P 500. So be sure to subscribe every week. We won't always be discussing these long type of podcasts with looking at Zacks.com. I have an AI one coming up again, But it's not going to be Mark Zinsky this time with the small caps, but my colleague Ethan Feller, who is a expert and fan of AI stocks. So he's going to share his expertise with us. So be sure to subscribe to get us. Again, you can get the video podcasts on YouTube. Just go to zacks.com/YouTube, find our page, subscribe. You also get top stock picks of the week there. 2 other Zacks #1 ranked stocks on that video every week. You can get that too. All of that is just free and accessible, but be sure to get us somewhere. And I'll see you again next week with some more stocks.